man. We can't allow any further delay. So stop your waiting.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fox 12 Weather Podcast, episode 151. You have myself, meteorologist Katie Suniga here, and of course, meteorologist Payton Major, who are holding down the fort today while Mark is out and Kamala had some other things to do. How's your day off going today, Payton?
Pretty good. Just, cleaning. What else do you do on a day off, right?
Oh, I got a list of things that I can do on my days off. Cleaning is definitely one of them, but see, I have the benefit of having children that have
Right.
chores to do, so I don't have to do all the cleaning
Right.
myself.
I'm waiting for the day my cats start, vacuuming and stuff, but
My
hasn't happened yet.
dog does sweep the kitchen floor for me with her tongue, so
Oh, so convenient.
I know she's very helpful with that. If I drop a piece of cheese, boom, it's gone. I
Gone.
don't have to worry about it
It's the
at
best part about
all.
dogs. I love
Yes.
it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with an August recap. And then we're going to take a look at the meteorological fall outlook. And I brought back Katie's Climate Corner for today because I thought it would be fun since we're getting close to that meteorological fall. We have a term of the week, which I was very excited about. And then, of course, we have your viewer photos. So a nice jam-packed podcast for you today. Starting off with our outlook or our recap here. This is a look at August so far. So, yes, we do have 4 days left. We are at 3 degrees above normal, and that is both the daytime and the overnight temperatures because we know that we have had some very warm nights recently. Broke a couple records, which I just realized I didn't grab that slide and I should have that graphic. But I do have daytime temperatures. And so the month as a whole is averaging just a little warmer. The month more started off on the cooler side, more below average temperatures until we did have that first heat wave, the 10th through the 12th. And then we cooled back for a week at or below average for an entire week. And then we hit the warm temperatures that we've just been in. Rain for us, the wettest day we've had this entire summer was on the Wednesday, August 6th. And that's when we had 0.43, almost a half inch of rain in one day. And then we've had little bits here and there, the 15th, 16th. And then yesterday, there was enough rain for us to actually get some measurable rain in the metro area. We got 100th of an inch in Portland. We did
Little
some at the
wins.
I know. And when I was looking at the map, I saw Hillsborough had the most at 500ths of an inch. So
Wow.
hold the
That's
phone.
different because Hillsborough's been very dry this summer.
It took the cake of all the spots that we have on our map of the wettest. So at this point, I'll show you the updated forecast for this weekend that I did this morning, Peyton. But right now, I do not expect we're going to see any more accumulation through the end of the month. So we'll likely end at about 0.59 inches of rain, which is just 500ths, 600ths above average. So not a soaking wet August, but just slightly above. So here it is, the almost slash heat waves of the season. We had 4, 1, 2 that was in June, in start of July, and then 2 in August, or June and July that were almost, and then 2 in August that were. And our heat waves were the 10th to the 12th at that 99, 99, 99. And then just this last week, the 22nd through the 24th. Now, we originally were anticipating that we were going to have a 5 or maybe 6 day heat wave.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't quite happen for us. We had some pesky clouds that can often do this to us. It's really a frustration for our team when we're all looking at something and it looks like clouds are clearing out and then we're texting each other around noon. The clouds aren't gone yet. The clouds are they should I drop the temperature? They're like we're all like
You should see our group chat on days that our forecast busts. It's
yeah.
truly no, like why
Yeah.
is this happening? We get just as mad as you do. So
Yeah, because we're looking at the data, and the data said we were going to have at least two more 90-degree days, and they were both in the upper 80s, right? If I'm remembering.
yes.
Yeah,
But
actually, let me.
Katie, this is one of those
Yeah,
things though that and I said this on air, it's okay if we underperform because I think everyone's looking at those 90s and they're going, ooh, that doesn't sound very nice. But then we get in the 80s, and I think it
Yeah.
definitely makes a few more people happy. So,
If it was the other way around, if we had told people it was going to be in the upper 80s and we hit triple digits or mid 90s,
yeah,
that's a no no.
that's no, no.
Yeah, that's the no no. And so then other things of note on that Friday that we hit 102 in the metro. Vancouver hit 100, tying the record back there from, is that 1891? Am I reading that right? Wow.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Wow, that got records going back there. Hillsborough beat the record by 1 degree, McMinnville by 1 degree, Salem by 1 degree, and Eugene by 3 degrees. And these records go back into the 1915, 1940s, 1960s, and 1980s. So we had quite a warm streak there this last weekend. Um, I get asked quite a bit, are we having such a hot summer? This summer's so hot. And I keep having to tell people, no, we're
Mm-mm.
not having a hot summer. We didn't get the triple digits until just recently. And even then, we've had two. The record is five. We don't always get triple digits, but two is they were looking at the average or the number of days all the way back to 2000. So we've had 8 summers since 2000 that we did not reach triple digits, and then a majority of them are 1, 2, maybe 3, and then just a couple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the last 25 years had 4 or 5 triple digits. So it's
Yeah.
it's not that bad. So that I made this morning. So August average temperature in Portland. So the hottest Augusts on record. So I'm looking at just August temperatures. The average temperature of 88.1, that's the top spot. That was 1967. 87.3 was 2022. We have a tie for third at 81.1. Oops, I put the wrong number in there. That was supposed to be
It was
80,
87. Yeah.
supposed to be
You're good.
87.1. I hit the
Mm-hmm.
wrong button there. And 23 and 17. And then the fourth spot or fifth is 86.2 in 1986. So granted, we have 4 days left in the month. We are in spot number 7 right now at 85.2. So with, we're leaning at above average for the last 4 days of the month, but it is going to be a little cooler this weekend. So we'll see where we land. But I do not see really any case where we're going to make it into the top 5. I bet you
Yeah.
we'll stay 5 or below as we
Mm-hmm.
progress to the end. The other things of note were the lightning strikes that we had on Wednesday morning. My graphic is actually covering up. How many is that? 300 and what? Can you see?
369. But yesterday showed this graphic in the nighttime, and it had about 1,400.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. With the
That's
whole
yeah,
state, by the way.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one we're looking at is just Wednesday morning by 9 a.m., just kind of the time that things started to calm down. So within 24 hours, which would mostly be the night before to that yesterday morning, we had more than 300 lightning strikes. And we were having so much fun with it yesterday morning because we were catching them on the cameras. And Andy got so excited, he like hurt himself trying to point at the camera because we got some lightning strikes like as we were live. So we were all enjoying that. The other thing of note, obviously, also for August would be the smoke, and I feel like we just haven't had much of a run with many wildfires. A few here or there in the gorge, but this one, the ones that we're watching. That you see on the graphic right here, the one that's sort of southeast of Eugene and the one that's in Central Oregon near Sisters. To me, these have been the most significant I feel like we've had this summer for the smoke, and airflow, air directions kind of kept us from being socked in. But Central Oregon, especially the next couple days, it's not looking like it's going to be the most amazing air quality over there. So that's kind of our August recap. Is there anything else that's on your mind that I maybe missed or something that kind of was a note to you that happened in August?
Yeah, I think I want to mention kind of what's happened the last few days, because I think the storms caught a couple of us off guard, but also why it's been so humid, because it's not fun, I guess, with our standards when it's
Mm-hmm.
dew points in the 50s and or I said upper 50s, low 60s, starts to feel uncomfortable. And been getting a lot of questions about, okay, when is it not going to be as humid? Because I miss this. It's August. We should be enjoying the dry heat. And it's actually coming from monsoonal moisture. And we're going to touch on this a little later for like the term of the week stuff. But there was some moisture that came all the way from New Mexico and Arizona. And that's what brought us this energy, this humidity, and even the clouds that kind of scooted even west of the Cascades early yesterday morning. So that was kind of the reason why we've had all this humidity, but it's finally going offshore. So we should have
Yes.
better dew points, which I think we're all excited about.
Yes, yeah. And, when we look at what is a normal summer for us, it's very different than what's a normal summer. Kind of.
Yes.
So,
I was
yeah,
cracking up about that because I was telling Mark, I was like, I remember last summer when I was in Virginia, like we were looking at 70-degree dew points like it was the norm. It's just like, oh, and when it dropped into the 60s, it was a party. Like everyone was
yeah,
so
yeah.
excited. But
And
here
I
we're
get
like,
people,
ah.
yeah, people to be, Katie, it's so humid today. What's the dew point temperature? I'm like, 58,
Yeah.
60, 61, which,
Literally would be a dream for anybody in the South right now.
yes, exactly. All right, our favorite controversial topic of every season change. When does it actually change? So, when does fall begin? There's two versions of it, some three. For me, it's when my kids go back to school. That they go back, it's now my fall. So, it was fall
Wait,
for me
there's
on
four,
Tuesday.
Katie. You forgot that
Oh,
pumpkin spice lattes
oh, the
came
pumpkin
out.
spice lattes.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
of
So there's at
course.
least four, rubrics there for you to decide. But meteorological fall is the official NOAA, and it's based on the weather. And we look at it 3 months: September, October, November. And it's just basically a nice, easy way for keeping records. So somebody was asking me this the other day: when you say the number of degree days in summer, then that's June, July, and August. Once we get into September, now these days start counting toward the fall. And so fall for meteorological purposes begins on September 1st. Astronomical, or some people consider the traditional fall, that's based on sun position. And I did double check this year because it can bounce back and forth from like the 21st to the 22nd. It is officially on September 22nd for us this year. And if I remember right, it was like 10:58 in the morning or something like
Yeah,
that.
something in the morning.
Yeah, something in the morning. So those are kind of the two um, main ones for gauging. Looking ahead at the temperatures as we are ending the month and starting our September or our fall, you'll notice that we do have a little bump there on the euro going on to the 4th of next week, but I feel like it is doing its normal euro thing and kind of, you know, you know,
Spitting out some crazy things
yeah,
sometimes.
some crazy, because you will also see that on Saturday it says it's going to be 79.
Yeah.
And that is the only one that says that I could find that we were going to be in the 70s for our high on Saturday. So a little more extreme on the highs and lows where you look at the GFS, and it's pretty consistent. But what they both do show is if you go to the 7th, the second week of the month, they both drop us down into the 70s and 80s. So it shows through this weekend, the start of next week, and then kind of starting to get later into September, it brings it back. Both of these bring it back a bit. As far as rain goes, Euro's saying nada, like nada enchilada. We're looking at the 24-hour QPF, and it's just saying the ensemble's not going to happen. The GFS is wanting to bring in some moisture as we get to, I'm trying to see the date there. Is that the
This is
7th,
our
8th? That's,
foreheads.
I know. Would you like to
Straight
see if
forehead.
I washed my face this morning? It's starting to, a couple members are, starting to show, maybe a third of them. One really has given us, a half inch or more, but most are up to about a quarter inch. But again, that's, halfway through, 2 weeks out. So no, we're going to see those change. This is that 500 millibar anomaly for the euro. And the thing with these, so I have the euro and the GFS, which we love to bring on here. They're almost identical. At one point, I was like, did I download the same one? Because the way that they move, so this is the euro. You have two systems that are detached to lows. So yay, gotta love the cutoff systems that make forecasting so fun. Those are sitting over, to our west. And then when you pop into the GFS, they're like super, super same. There's the low
Mm-hmm.
that drops down a little quicker, the one that's farther to the west. But what I want to note is that one that's close to the Pacific coast, the Pacific
That
Northwest
little
coast
one.
there. That's the one that's been causing the, are we going to have thunderstorms this weekend? Are we not? Because when they're not attached to that steering jet stream, they bounce around and the thing is cut off lows, weather person woes, because it's like a ping pong ball, just kind of goes dong, 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 dong. So we don't have anything to kind of guide it. But that's the one we're watching for the activity that could happen this weekend as we look forward to the seasonal temperature outlook. So September, October, November. So those are our fall months. This is the NOAA outlook on it. It's showing that we are just leaning slightly above normal for all of Oregon and Washington. There's a very small corner that's just a little stronger in that southeast portion that's saying it might be a little warmer, but just slightly above, just leaning slightly above for the temperatures. And then as far as the rain goes, equal chances. So average rain pretty much all the way except for the northwest corner of the state, which is basically where we're at. Everything that you see on the west side of the Cascades and the valleys, the metro, and then along the coast, it's leaning just slightly above average for precipitation. So
Lovely.
we might be a little warmer, a little wetter. What does that coincide with? La Nina, maybe?
A light. Oh, La Nina. I'm sorry. I thought it was like the 7-day forecast. Like
I do have
we,
I had a La Nina graphic that I put together to put in there, but it needed, so in order to show everything, I couldn't get it to animate.
mm,
And
darn
so,
it.
yeah, so I'm just going to mention, that was my way of introducing that. The newest outlook is, we're in Enso neutral right now, and we stay that way through the next several months. And then in the winter, that's when we see the El Nino, La Nina, and it's like was like a 40% chance that we're moving into another La Nina very briefly before we go back to neutral. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very strong one. That typically means we're wetter and warmer.
Mhm.
And we have had I was looking at the numbers, and basically of the last like 9 or 10 or 11, it's been like equal wet, equal dry, equal average. So it really hasn't, if you look at just like the last, decade, there's no indication as La Nina means we will be wet, we will be this, or we will be that. It's
Yeah.
just, long term. So these are the changes. Oh, I didn't get the new 7-day in here. Well, look at that. I messed up. Let me see. I wonder if I can. This is the old one. I forgot to put the new
Oh, the
updated
one you
one
did
in there
this
for.
morning.
Yeah, so I'll just walk you through the changes that I made. The biggest one is that I saw like no indication that there was going to be thunderstorms, no instability. Everything looked stable and calm. Looking at all the lifted index and the Cape numbers and all that, there was like Friday afternoon, there was some slight elevation in it, but it wasn't enough to be like, oh, Friday night into Saturday. So I took out the slight chance for thunderstorms, and I didn't even see. In fact, if you go back, let me see if I can go back here and show you. Like,
Yeah.
look at, so this is the rain chances, the
Mm.
24-hour. There's one member on the Euro that says trace, and there are 3 members on the GFS that say trace amount out of the 30 and 50 that there are. So I
And then
just
one
went
thing
ahead.
I'll
Mm.
mention on that last, sorry, right here. Yeah. Is the low, at least in recent model runs, has gotten one a lot weaker, but also the
Mhm.
position of it has been
Mhm.
more offshore. I think even just
Mhm.
a few days ago, when
Mhm.
I think I initially put that thunderstorm chance might have been Tuesday afternoon, and it was more right over the Pacific Northwest, and we'd get more of
Mhm.
that southwesterly flow influence. So that's why I put that there, I think, originally. But yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree. If it's
Yep.
staying offshore, we shouldn't see
Yep.
anything from it. So,
And when I was looking at the model for Cape, and we have 3 of them that I look at, all of it was not even close to the coast. Like all that instability, all that, it was just way out there. And part of it is, if you can see the ridge that's building to our southeast, I think that's what's pushing it
Mm-hmm.
kind of up to the northwest as it's keeping it from coming in toward us, which also
And
plays
giving
into
us that
your
warm up.
monsoonal moisture. Okay,
Yes.
so we're almost there. First, we have to go through my climate corner. This is like all things fall because this is our last, quote, summer podcast before we get into the fall. But of course, I just had to talk about fall foliage, fall colors. Now, most people usually, I think, learn this in science class when they're a kid. This right here, this is an old one, but this is satellite imagery of tracking fall colors. You can track fall colors, if you didn't know, through satellite imagery. And so you can see the different colors. And for those of us that don't know, why the leaves turn, I have a whole long paragraph here that I'm not going to read. But the basic thing is that inside the leaf, the color is because of the chemicals that are called pigments. And there are 4 main types of pigments in each leaf. So in the summer, that one that gets triggered by the sunlight and helps, absorb the sunlight and turn food and energy for the plants is the chlorophyll. And that's what helps the plant make energy from the sunlight and through the process called photosynthesis. As that sunlight triggers that, then that's when all your leaves get nice and green. Of course, we get into the fall, we get into later summer, less daylight hours, we see the time change. So then that chlorophyll does not it starts slowing down, and it allows the other pigments that were already in the leaves to start coming out. And it can be altered by the amount of sunlight, the type of tree. Like that's why we get all the variations and colors, and everything's not consistently the same. So I am not even going to try and say, do you know how to say the names of all these other pigments?
Oh
'Cause
boy.
so
No.
it's green, yellow, orange, and red.
Yes.
Orange might be carotenoids.
Carotenoids. That sounds
That
right. I'll give that
yeah.
one to you, Katie. I'm gonna say
Okay.
yes.
And I'm thinking carrots, orange, carotenoids.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So
Yikes.
so
Can't say the other ones.
that's yes, I'm a scientist, but I'm not an English major, so those are hard
Yeah.
words for me to say. So that's why our leaves change color in the fall. And then I have for you here just a couple of viewer pictures, but I had to go back all the way to last fall. And these
That's
people didn't
tough.
leave their names, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I
Oh.
can't give you credit, but you can see the oranges and the yellows and the reds in these leaves this fall in the metro area. And there's a yellow one. So
Oh.
pretty. So just some examples of the different colors that we were talking about. And then I got a map here of the peak foliage times in the United States. So where we are, there's one spot, basically Central Oregon down to Southern Oregon, that's mid-October, but almost the entire rest of the state, besides the very tiny edge that just hugs Idaho, we are all late October. That's our peak of the season. And then throughout the states, there's all different kind of places. You have early November, you have late September, but for us here, both Oregon and Washington, it's pretty much mid to late October are the peak times for us. So I'm excited. I love it. My husband disagrees with me, but I'm telling you, fall, my favorite season.
Oh, it
Yes.
is the best. And I have a couple things to add to that. I know it is Katie's Climate Corner, but I
Oh.
love the climatology of plants and trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a climatology major as well. And so I did a lot of work when I was in Arizona, in northern Arizona, where you can see is that, red to, early to mid-October timeframe. And they do a lot of studies on how climate change is impacting leaf colors. And
Mm-hmm.
usually if we have either an abnormally super hot and dry summer or even too wet, you kind of want this
Mm-hmm.
happy medium, kind of like the spring with the cherry blossoms, then those trees can get an early or late signal and change colors earlier or
Mm-hmm.
later. Another thing is if a tree is stressed, whether that's because of the climate in the summer or because it's in an urban area or in an area that's not native to the tree, then it can change earlier or even have dimmer colors. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
the colors won't even last as long. So maybe you've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that in neighborhoods, if you live in an urban area, that the trees are already changing. I'm looking out my window right now and I live in Beaverton and I see 2 bright yellow trees already. So yeah, I think it just depends. I think it
Mm-hmm.
could be them not
Yep.
getting watered enough. It could be disease. It could be so many things. But climate has a very big role on those beautiful fall colors too. So something to
And
keep
I
in
can
mind.
tell you quite a few times when I was forecasting in Central Oregon, we would say, this is too early. Like if we're like this is way too early for these trees to be changing colors. So I think people notice it, but they might not realize that they notice that it happens. It does
Yeah.
happen for us.
We are
So
lucky we don't get a bunch of storms though in the fall. I mean, we do every now and then, but especially in the South, like I remember when I lived in Virginia, we lost all the beautiful colors within the week because of a windstorm. So it
yeah.
can happen, but we don't get that as much here, which is nice. We can enjoy it a
Yeah.
little longer.
Yes. It's so beautiful. All right. So term of the week. I know you're very excited
Yes.
about this. So I will
Love
let you
it.
take it away.
This is a silly word, and yes, it is haboob. I know we've been mentioning it on air quite a bit, and we've gotten some questions. Is this really a word? Yes, it is. And it happens a lot in the desert Southwest. So a haboob is basically a sandstorm or dust storm. It's a wall of dust, as you can see. I'm very lucky to have a lot of friends still in Phoenix. So this is from one of my friends. She said right outside her apartment, she saw this ominous cloud of dust and sand coming toward her, and they can actually send dust about 5,000 feet into the air. It's crazy how big these walls can be. I mean, it's like a tsunami of dust.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably wondering, okay, how does this happen? Well, obviously, Phoenix is a desert. Lots of New Mexico is a desert, and we get these monsoonal thunderstorms pop up. Well, in a thunderstorm, we have a really strong kind of outflow boundary. And outflow is kind of, you can even see it on radar, the first initial gust of wind from this system that's brewing or forming. And that first initial gust can be so strong on the surface that it kicks up dust. And as this thing's traveling, usually in a perfect circle away from the storm, you can have these massive haboobs depending on how much dust it has to pick up before it reaches a place. So this one I think originated just to the southeast of Phoenix, again, very rural, deserty, sandy area, and had plenty of time to pick up all that dust and then distribute it all over Phoenix. And then shortly after, that same storm came and arrived in Phoenix. So this is what my friend Jenna saw out her window after that, plume of dust went through. You can barely see anything. It's awful. I have asthma, so as a weather nerd, I wanted to be out and seeing it. But then once it hits, I mean, it is like there's dust and sand in your eyes. You can't breathe. It's covering your car. You can't see anything because it's almost like fog. You can even turn on your brights. That's a bad idea. I mean, it's a crazy phenomenon. So this happens a lot during monsoon season that runs from June 15th through September 30th. So we just passed about 2/3 of the way through the season. And I talked to the state climatologist. I worked with her very closely, and she said, so far this season, we've only had 3 days of measurable rain in Phoenix. So they were kind of thrilled to have a good storm roll through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's an Arabic word. It means hab, to blow. I don't know what the oob part is, but I think it's ferociously, to blow ferociously or something. We looked it up.
With the oob. I don't know what the oob part
The
is.
oob means.
The oob.
Well, it was so funny because Nora was like, what's haboob plural? Is it haboobai or haboobies? And I was like, I think it's just haboobs. I don't know.
Oh
We had way too much fun. Way too much fun. And then I'll show you the next slide. This was, I don't know if you can play video, Katie, but the left one's a video.
Let me
I don't know
see.
if you can click on it.
Oh, I can. It's gonna work.
Oh, of course it goes sideways. Okay, well, you can kind of get the picture. That this is from my friend's mom. My friend's also a meteorologist, and so her mom, we trained her well to go storm chasing for us.
I wanted to see if I could, because I have a little. Do I have any way of
sideways?
rotating?
We're all
I know.
like,
I know. Why did it do that? Huh?
Oh,
That's
oriented
weird.
right. Okay, well,
and what's really funny about that is I played it before we came here,
and
it didn't do that. It played straight up and down. It just did that this time. So
that's okay. Maybe
I don't know.
It's all right. You get the picture. She went out to a rural area and caught the big cloud coming through, which is cool. And then to prove to you I am a giant weather nerd, this was right above my bed for about 3 months. My freshman year dorm says waiting for a haboob on a sign. And yeah, my roommate texted me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I remember," because we shared such a small room. She's like, "That thing was there for like 3 or 4 months, and you were really excited to see Haboob." So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
these
got
all
to,
come from monsoons, which we'll get to. But yeah, go ahead, Katie.
I would say I got to be in one once, and it was before I knew what it was. And I think I was just in school at the time. I hadn't finished getting my degree yet. And I looked and I saw it coming toward me, and I was with a group of people, and I was like, we need to go inside. And so they were like, why? And I like turned their heads and they were like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know, but it's coming right at us. We need to go. So
Yeah,
we went in, and then it was just like as it, oh, it was intense. It
yeah.
was,
You think it would like be kind of cool to be in it, but no, it's not. One time I was at an outdoor mall too in Phoenix, and I saw, 'cause, the outdoor mall is very like, just
mm-hmm,
parallel, straight, stick straight. And I saw it
mm-hmm.
come down the road toward me, and I had to run into a store, and
Yep, yep.
yeah, it's bad. But
It's, yeah.
um, but yeah, we've been talking about monsoon all podcast, and it's monsoon season as we mentioned. And the North American monsoon, basically in general, is just a seasonal change in the wind, and it's all kind of driven by heat over the land. So you can see on the left, typical spring pattern. We have the dry air, pretty much zonal, which is kind of straight west to east, and then a high that's kind of centered over Mexico region. And then summer monsoon, we see that high scoot a little northward. We start to see this ridging pattern, which we've seen a lot the last week or so, and that
And we're
allows
about to see again.
Yep. And that allows tropical moisture to kind of scoot under that low, be driven by the area, or excuse me, scoot under the high, be driven by the high pressure, and then actually bring some good tropical storms to the desert Southwest region. So that's why I know it's silly. We think Arizona doesn't get any rain, but in the summer, it's actually their wet season. So they
Mm-hmm.
finally have this high pressure that scoots north enough to allow some rain in. So this is always a very thrilling time of the year in Phoenix. But yeah, it just results in a lot of thunderstorms and hopefully some good rain.
Yeah. All right. All right. And the last but not least, of course, we have our viewer photos. So before we get to this, I want to say I told Mark I was really like, I never like it when I don't get to be like part of the podcast. It's something I've really come to enjoy. He and I haven't been able to do too many together since I moved to mornings. It's only happened a few times, but I was really bummed to miss the last one with the funny viewer emails. And so I was
Yes.
like, was dying. And so he said, we'll do it in another 6 months and make sure because I have some doozies. Some
Yes, you
doozies.
have to. That was so
Yeah.
funny. I had friends and family texting me about that. Even like
Yeah.
old, people, professors. I was like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
popular one.
Yeah. My tease ahead to the next 6 months when we do this again is I got, so I was telling Mark, he's not the only one who's received mail letters in the mail. I used to get
Hmm.
them quite a bit when I was in Central Oregon. And I had somebody send me a card that says all the things that they normally say when they think you're great, with a return envelope that was addressed and stamped and said, can I please have a lock of your hair? I've enclosed an envelope for you to mail it back to me. uh I was like, they
Oh
make
no.
I like to make stuff out of human hair, and your hair is so pretty, could you please send me back a lock of your hair? I was like, no, thank you. So
No, that
that
is
was
so frightening.
one of my doozies. Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get some fun ones, that's for sure.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Um, okay, well, it's time for viewer photos. I had some good ones to put together because, again, we've had so
Yeah.
much fun with this the smoke and the
Yeah.
sunsets and the lightning. But you can always send us your photos, by the way, on our app or on our website. It's very easy to do so. And we got a lot of good lightning photos, which I am
Mhm.
always so impressed. It is so hard to capture lightning. I know. So,
Mhm.
Julie, incredible. The quality of this image, amazing.
Mhm.
This was captured yesterday morning, Wednesday morning in Fairview. Lovely.
Oh,
Julie, I
so
would
pretty.
try to pronounce your last name, but I don't think I can. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
try either.
Yeah. Okay. And then we had our last 8 o'clock sunset. Womp womp. Definitely some really sad people out there, and I'm with you. Um,
I'm not, because that means that I go to bed before that, and the
that's
summers are
true.
so hard when it's bright sunny and the kids are out playing basketball and everybody's running around and I'm in bed trying to go to sleep. So I now appreciate
Right.
earlier sunsets.
Katie is celebrating, the rest of us crying. No, I'm just kidding. No, this was in Gresham, a beautiful photo from Christian Saint, and the sky is a very bright color of orange, and this was the day that we had a good amount of haze from the wildfire smokes,
Oh,
from the
yeah.
wildfires in Central Oregon. So
Yeah.
it's obviously not great, but it creates some cool sunsets.
Yep.
This is my shrine. Camilla was cracking up at me yesterday when I was making this because she was like, "Oh my gosh, we had so many bird bath photos," and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna create a little shrine."
Animals. Yes.
Yeah, so we had a cat in a bird bath from Dave in Hillsboro. Sammy sent us a squirrel in Gresham in a bird bath, which I think that's such a cute photo. And then we have Gunner the dog in Salem sitting right in front of the fan and the air conditioning. Kelly sent this to us. So yes, even though
Yeah.
we're all melting, keep in mind the pets are melting too.
Mhm.
So it's now a good
Yep.
time.
That's not a good time. And I want to plug here. I'm getting back into doing the dog walk forecast in the mornings because I think that they just sort of triggered at me yesterday. Somebody said they got up to take their dog out for a walk before they went to work, and they were surprised by the rain that was coming down. And I was like, you know what? I need to bring back in the mornings because I used to do it on the weekends. And I haven't done it since I moved to the morning. So please send me, go in there. There's a pets category for us, and send me your photos because I want to have some awesome, and they don't have to be dogs. We've done zebras, we've done lizards, we've done geese, we've done all kinds of pets. So send them our way because I'd love to feature them in my pet walk forecast in the morning.
We had a
that
pig
was
the
it.
other day. It was great.
Yes. Oh yeah. We've had quite the adventurous pet forecast. So it's hard for me that we call it the dog walk forecast. I would prefer to call it the pet walk forecast.
I agree.
So that way we can include those other fun pictures for you. Okay, well, I think that about does it for us. Kind of like a quick recap is although the summer has had some more moments, it is not too much above normal for the summer. We'll see how we end. It does look like a warm end to August, start to September, but we will see as we potentially move into a La Nina winter. We're on a La Nina watch for now. And then as far as rain goes, even though we were above average a little last month, we're kind of trending below average. So we're going into the end of the water year on the lower end with drought status and things like that pretty much around the state. So hopefully we can get through the rest of this fire season with no more fires, and they can get those ones over, one in Central Oregon and the one southeast of Eugene, under control. I had some family members that were evacuated from their home over in Sisters. So, you know, it's close to home. And, you know, when you know people that are having to flee their home, taking everything they can, it's not too fun. So
super sad.
thanks to all the first responders out there taking care of that. And with that being said, hope you guys have a great weekend, a great Labor Day holiday. It looks like it'll be just a few clouds in the morning, but mid 80s, so not too hot. Great barbecue weather.
Yes.
Sounds great. Okay, thanks folks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.
You're waiting and hesitating, and tell us, please tell us.